So these drafts are pretty even, but Lance into a Jewel though. I mean, Jewel has to play very, very well here to outplay the Lance.
How is this Ringo going to be doing? Because certainly in lane against the Jewel in a vacuum, I think there's some competition there. When you've got a Lyra backing up your Jewel, being obnoxious and harassing you in lane, that's a bit of a different story. Right?
Joseph can also play Taka. I'm not sure if Joseph is comfortable on Kestrel, CP Kestrel. He may opt for Taka here because Taka's so slippery and it's very
Taka
good
do so well
into
earlier
Samuel.
today.
Yeah, so there might be a Taka or CP Kestrel here. It's going to be one of those two picks unless they surprise me.
Cloud9, they have 19, 18, 17 seconds left in their bonus time. They've got to choose very quickly. It's an important pick as their last one of the game before we hop onto the Halcyon Fold here.
I would actually really like to see the Taka, but it's going to be a Catherine.
Okay.
Wow, okay. So are we going to see Joseph on Lance?
I hope so.
That'd be a very dark potato play.
I think they're going to CP the Lance because they want to weapon the Ringo. CP Ringo is not good into a support Lyra because Lyra can heal.
This is definitely going to be a good and interesting best of 3 with Joseph. He's taking the Catherine, but he's taking it into the jungle. Something I like to see every now and then. But TSM already going on the very, very aggressive roam. As Cloud9, they've just opted to actually just sit in the lane here and just not worry all too much with Old School taking a little bit of that jungle away from Cloud9, or TSM rather, and TSM actually going to work their way up into the lane. With Best Chakane on the Jewel, does get rooted, and Joseph actually hasn't actually started with a stun, so won't be able to follow anything up there. Von C is going to be here, just going to jump onto Gabe Vizzle with a little bit of damage down. But other than that, that's going to be about it.
Yeah, it's actually a good return from Cloud9 to respond to that aggressive TSM move. Actually, Old School goes and gets those back camps himself, actually leaves I Love Joseph in lane to get some farm down. So realistically, even Stevens across the board in terms of what was traded back and forth there, Jaws. Actually, just one healing camp in favor of Vonsi. He's going to continue his aggression, though. They've got super long range, lots of aggressive moves they can make onto this Catherine. And I Love Joseph actually is now going to be forced back once again. Won't be able to farm his back camps. This is TSM pulling out all the stops in their aggressive pressure on C9. Not going to be able to get that healing camp now. The double camps are under threat, but it's a good rotation from C9 here, George.
Oh man, Impale does miss. Bashx is there for the recovery, trying to escort Von C out of here. Best Chakane actually is going to leap over the entire lot of Cloud9 and say hello and say adieu to TSM as they do end up reconvening together, but that's going to be about it. I mean, that looks very good for Cloud9, but Bashx is hot on the sigils.
Yeah, and also really good reaction by Best Check NA. Didn't stand in lane, didn't try and shove the wave in, wasn't greedy, moved immediately to help his team. And like you said, it was a really good move by FlashX and the use of that sigil to get Vonsi out of danger. And now Vonsi has complete control. He's got his back camps up and ready. He's actually maybe looking to still go aggressive here. He's heading into the C9 jungle once more. Old School, or rather I Love Joseph, has had literally no time to farm right now. He's going to lose his back camps again. Von C there for the third time round. He's going to pick up these back camps once more. Will get spotted out here, I think, by Gabe Vizzle. But Von C should walk away with them. FlashX there is already for the support, but Gabe Vizzle will pick up one. But again, dominant jungle here from FlashX and Von C. And it's something, Jaws, that you don't see too often. The roam or captain and jungle combo that was so popular last year kind of evolved into that captain sticking in lane meta. Now TSM making it work.
Yeah, they're doing a very, very fine job of it. Cloud9 are doing a very fine job of just collapsing on Von C here, but Best Chakane is going to be here as well. The stun onto I Love Joseph is going to be pretty big as Cloud9 are running. Their health bars are blinking, and Von C will come up with a kill. First blood goes over to TSM. Gabe Vizzle is going to have to get his happy feet on, going to have to run away as TSM just continue their chase. Those Thunder Strikes doing a lot of damage. But TSM, they come up with the kill.
Oh, this has just been such a display of how to pressure a weak jungler. Catherine just not so good, especially until she gets Stormguard banner, which she has now picked up now. But in those early levels, she is very, very weak in the jungle, has got a particularly low clear speed. And you can see I Love Joseph too afraid to even go to his backs because of Von C's aggression. Will now start to walk towards them. Von C is going to be at his own back. So for the first time, I Love Joseph should be able to pick up his back rotation, which I think is his fourth rotation. The first one that he gets to pick up, though. But TSM putting on display here, aggressively moving and putting pressure on C9's jungle, which is kind of the right thing to do against the Catherine. You want to try and punish her in that jungle position, and that's what TSM are doing.
And they're doing a very good job of it. And Von C, you mentioned, this is the first time Olive Joseph have got his backs, and you can just tell by the CS differential there. Von C's on 22. Olive Joseph only on 9. Single digits for him so far. Really, really putting pedal to the metal. TSM want to get ahead. They want to get ahead early, and they want to be able to carry this game out towards the mid-game.
And actually, that may sound like understated. You know, oh, he's like 15 CS ahead, or you know, whatever. That in the jungle is very hard to achieve. So that's a really good early lead there for Von C. And again, it's by FlashX's rotations. Best Chuck's reacting very quickly if things are going awry. He's really following old school out of the lane, and that's allowed TSM to be aggressive with very little reprise in the C9 jungle. And again, like I said, it's very rare to see the captain and jungle combo make those moves in the jungle. It's not something that happens too often in this current meta, but FlashX and Best Chuck and A have been very good at roaming together. Sorry, FlashX and Von C have been very good at roaming together in those aggressive maneuvers. Gotta say, TSM been impressive so far, changing up how they're approaching the game very, very quickly and on the fly.
Yeah, I have done indeed, and yet again, just disrupting Olive Joseph. Didn't even get that camp. Best Chuck and A is going to be able to secure it for him, taking away both front camps. Man, this is painful coming out of Joseph right now. This guy, you know, doesn't want to let tilt set in, but that's very, very frustrating for him actually right now.
It doesn't feel like he can go for the Storm Crown because he's so far behind. He wants to have a more of an immediate impact. Looks like he's going towards his Aftershock early here. That's interesting. Just
nice GC chain coming in on Best Chuck and A. Let's be very, very careful. FlashX was there to kind of save him, but that's going to be I think it's going to be quite difficult for TSM to deal with, is this CC follow-up coming through from Cloud9 in the later portions of the game.
Oh, absolutely. And the CC chain from C9 is very strong, but they have to get to a position where that becomes relevant. Because you can CC chain, but if you don't have the damage to finish off that target that's getting locked down, it can be very difficult. Although, saying that, old school, getting a lot of good basic attacks onto Best Chuck there. He was turned away, so was taking more damage in that situation. But the siege from TSM is good. Whenever you have a Samuel, the siege is always going to be pretty decent because of that Drifting Dark and Malice and Verdict combo. And you can see how much damage has already been done to that tier 1 of the C9 team.
Very decisive team. TSM looking strong. FlashX does get rooted. It's not going to be too much of an issue, though. It's Cloud9. Can't really follow up with anything apart from old school's damage. And that's kind of reminiscent of a couple of the builds we've seen, or a couple of the team compositions, rather, that we've seen across EU and NA. As I interrupt myself, as old school does land out the Hellfire Brew. A lot of damage, a lot of CC onto Von C, but he's able to cut it away perfectly here. Game Fizzle going really low. Big red button to chunk C9 out. That follow-up damage from Best Chuck and A as they just pile onto Von C is pretty stupendous.
And they're going to be able to get the turret off the back of this as well. Easy game, easy life. TSM doing what TSM does best. Dominant from the very start of this game. They have looked fantastic so far. They're going to get the gold mine as well because unfortunately C9 had to rotate back to base. And because of Lyra being on TSM's side, they've got that heal, got everyone back up, even post-fountain use. And put them in an incredibly good position to go and take that gold mine. So, right, this is just starving C9 from the early game, capitalizing on it, and at 7 minutes, TSM almost at a 4K gold advantage.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous so far. TSM showing and proving that they're one of the best teams in the region so far. They are sitting on 20 points right now.
Understatement.
The best.
Yeah, they're literally the best team in the region, and I think they've been proving that for, you know, nigh on 4 to 5, 6 months now. It's been such a dominant half year for TSM, and they have no signs of letting up. This roster is fantastic, and honestly, they have been in control of the North American region for quite some time now. And even against C9, who looked so good today, TSM almost looked like they're playing with their food in some instances. They are just that good at this moment in time. I actually don't know who can stop TSM.
We'll have to wait and see, and that's where it's going to come up pretty big. Can Cloud9 do such a thing? Von C does get impaled, but Joseph's not going to be there for the follow-up. 20 CS, by the way, on I Love Joseph and Von C. I've been keeping an eye on it. Double the CS at this current time, and that's really, really something to kind of look forward. I mean, Von C's just done a fantastic job, and even Best Chuck's got 20 up on old school. They are trying to look for something here, but FlashX is going to be the target, but that Drifting Dark is going to do a lot of work for Von C. Big red button's going to follow up with the damage. That turret is going to fall, and TSM just continuing their assault, and Olive Joseph's going to have to get out there quite sharpish as he almost ends up going down.
And one of the major issues for a Catherine is a Frostburn, and Vonsi's got it, and it makes it kiting that Catherine very easy, and the fact that Catherine's going to find it difficult to get through the Bright Bulwark makes it even harder too. So you can't imagine that Catherine's going to find her prey anytime soon unless it's in combination with Gabe Vizzle finding a good impale. Definitely feel like I Love Joseph is on a hero right now that is going to be struggling to have an impact. TSM seem to have things locked up in terms of the way that they are approaching this game. And this is kind of what you expect to see going into this type of composition. A composition that really has one idea. They've got great peel for Ringo, don't get me wrong. This is you can do that for C9. If you want to rely on Ringo to be your major damage output, you can peel for him with a Catherine and Lance very effectively. But if you want to be aggressive, all you can do essentially is run at the enemy. Because both Lance and Catherine, they kind of run at you. They don't really have instantaneous gap closers. And that's where Lyra and a Frostburn is very good at dealing with that particular type of engage. And that means it's going to be very difficult for Cloud9 to be proactive. They're going to have to be reactive this entire game. They're going to have to rely on Old School on this Ringo to do the majority of the work while pretty much simply peeling for him. So that's what I'm expecting to see if Cloud9 are going to come out on top in this game.
Yeah, that's a massive if at the moment. Only one kill has been taken in this game. There's already a 6k gold advantage for TSM. Oh dear, Vonsi, he's picked up that Broken Myth with an infusion. FlashX has got one himself as well. Atlas Pauldron, Fountain, Crucible for FlashX. Best Jack and A, he's stacking up the damage nice and proper as well. My goodness, TSM, they are looking very strong, and they're going to just continue their march down this lane. With Cloud9, I mean, what are they going to be able to do coming into this apart from protect Old School? Because you can see the poke damage from Vonsi is already way too much for him.
I mean, if they can land an impale onto Vonsi, they can combo that with I Love Joseph's Merciless Pursuit, then potentially, you know, they could actually find a decent team fight. But realistically, it's very difficult to do that because of how impactful this Malice Inverted with the Frostburn is going to be against by both I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle. And the fact that I Love Joseph has had literally no farm this entire game. It's still double over to Vonsi, and I can't overstate how much that means from a jungle role. That's a very big gold difference and CS difference in the jungle because of how much lower, in general, jungle CS tends to be compared to lane. So that's a serious advantage. This is almost similar to seeing Best Chuck and A have 108 and Old School have 50. So that's literally a massive advantage going over to Vonsi.
Oh, they want to find something. They're going to jump straight onto Old School. I Love Joseph help us blinking as well. Passageway did get followed through. I Love Joseph trying to peel for Old School. They do manage to finally pick him up, but Old School falls as well. TSM, they do pick up 2 kills, making it their 3rd of the game. They're going to go towards the gold miner also. There's nothing that can stop them, and you saw the peel there, Scoundrel. You saw them try and get Old School away from Best Chuck and A, but it just did not work. Yeah,
I mean, I Love Joseph just isn't tanky enough. He's only got 4 stacks. Like, at 23 minutes into the 12 minutes into the game, he's got 4 stacks on his passive. I think that's 4 shielding and armor. It's really not very much. Like, at this point in the game, you can see how hard it's been for him to land any form of CC or even his silence at this point in time either. He's got no defensive itemization, relying entirely on his shield to provide that damage reduction that it can. And he's now picked up a tier 2 armor, but it's quite late into the game. You know, it's 12 minutes and it's only just picking up some defense. And with 4 stacks, this is going to be a very easy Catherine to deal with for TSM. I mean, they have punished this pick from C9. It's a pick that is risky. Catherine jungle works in certain circumstances, but it's very weak to a jungler that can look to punish early, especially a ranged jungler that can look to punish early, because obviously, you know, the range of Samuel, especially how aggressive he can be early on, makes it very difficult for Catherine to deal with him, because he can kite against that Merciless Pursuit. I mean, again, TSM knew exactly how to deal with it. All credit to them. Cloud9 have just kind of been bamboozled very early on here. And I don't know where they find their way back into this game, Jaws.
Yeah, I think bamboozles is the correct term to use at the moment, because Cloud9, not sure where they are going to find a way, if they're going to be able to. Maybe looking towards game number 2 and thinking, you know what, we're going to have to try and find something that will work against this Cloud9. How is our draft? How can it change up? Does it like Cloud9 are trying to maybe bait out TSM here? They work down towards their Crystal Sentry, but that's not going to be too much of an issue because TSM, they're just going to march down the lane, still trying to look for something, but the recalls are coming through.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're staying there.
TSM marching down the lane here. Actually, what is C9? C9?
Are you going to move, guys? Oh, there we go. 3 cores.
Maybe they were looking to bait around the Crystal Sentry, and as soon as they saw that TSM weren't taking the bait, they just went back to defend their turrets. But I think it's a play that you kind of have to make at this situation. You're like over 10k gold down with only 4 kills in the game. That's pretty substantial. So the play that you make is kind of like a desperation, let them walk into us play, and I think that's what C9 were going for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, like you said, maybe they have to kind of make these plays, but unfortunately it did not work. Atlas Pauldron is going to be the pickup for Best Chuck NA. That is definitely going to put a hinder to a lot of Old School's damage. It's going to be quite the problem because this Catherine's got nothing. Gabe Vizzle's got no damage on him really either. I mean, Aftershock has been finished from I Love Joseph, so he's definitely got that going for him, which is good. But TSM looking very, very strong. Hellfire Brew does come out. Lands on Best Chuck NA, but I'm not sure how this fight's going to go. Blast Damage signs all of them. This might be their time, but no, Old School just gets deleted. And the rest of Cloud9 will fall shortly soon as well. Getting tongue-tied here as well as TSM just kind of rampage over Cloud9.
I mean, they're not even going to go for Kraken. They're going to walk down the lane and take the game. At 15 minutes, this is so quick for TSM. So quick for them. I mean, they just punished a very awkward jungle pick. They knew exactly how to deal with this Catherine. And honestly, completely trumped C9 at this point in time. And they just take the game so quickly.
A 15-minute game, almost 16 for TSM. One of the quickest games we've seen today, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely fantastically well played and methodically. This is what we have come to expect from TSM, a very methodical playstyle, taking objective after objective, not so worried about the kill front because what wins games in the end? Taking objectives.